Good day, everyone. So, the chapter 2 of Mathematics in the Modern World is the language of mathematics. So, according to Galileo Galilei, the laws of nature are written in the language of mathematics. So, what do you mean by this? Napag-aralan natin sa Nature of Mathematics that mathematics exists everywhere. So therefore, it exists in nature, in our lives. So everything we see, mathematics is involved. So Galileo Galilei is right about his quotation. The laws of nature are written in the language of mathematics. Okay, so let us define what is language. It is a systematic way of communicating with other people by the use of sounds or conventional symbols. So verbal or non-verbal. So in everyday, we use language in our lives because it is how we communicate with other people. All right. So with the use of sounds and or symbols. Okay. Next is it is a system of words in the different discipline. So we use words. So either written, either verbal, or sabi ko nga with the use of sound. So last for this presentation, a system of abstract codes which represent antecedent events and concepts and arrange in ordered sequence to form words. So language represents antecedents, or antecedents is an event or a thing existed before, which is arranged in an order sequence to form words. Okay, so next is it is important to understand and express one's ideas, feelings, or opinion through language. So sabi ko nga kanina, language is the use of communication, or we use language for communication for us to express our ideas, our feelings, or opinions to others. So it serves as the transmitter of information and knowledge. So when you share your knowledge, you use language, and it means you are transmitting information. Okay, helps to construct social identity. So by language, you can identify what social identity a person has or have. Okay, so for an example, we Filipinos, we use Filipino language or Tagalog, and our social identity is we are from the Philippines, and same with the other countries. Okay, next, misunderstanding of one's language leads to confusion and misconceptions. When you don't understand a person's what is expressing, or what he is sharing to you, what he is telling to you, so if you don't understand, it may lead to confusion. So you may be confused, and it may give misconceptions. So it is very important for us to understand what is a person is telling us with the use of language. Next, so we use language in different discipline as well as with mathematics. So mathematics has its own language, tanong yon. So it was designed so we can write about, first is things, or things represented by numbers, sets, functions, etc. So what do we do with these things is to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and etc. Or with the use of formula. Just like human language, mathematics language consists of structural rules governing the use of symbols representing mathematical objects. So ano nga ba yung mga symbols na sinasabi natin? Those are the equality, inequality symbols, logic symbols, operation symbols. So napakaraming mga symbols sa mathematics which it is representing the language of mathematics. So the four operations in math, it considers, or those are considered as part of the mathematics language. Okay, next. So sabi dito, sa vocabulary of mathematics, instead of using words, we usually use symbols. Okay? And here are some examples of symbols that is commonly used or that are commonly used in mathematics. The 10 digits. So ano ba yung mga 10 digits natin from 0 to 9? So those are the 10 digits, our 10 digits. Next, symbols for operations and sets. Ayan. So ano yung mga symbols natin in operation? Plus, minus, x, or a variable, and then the symbols for sets. Next, symbols that stand in for the values which are x, y, z, and m, or it is represented by letters. So our unknowns is usually represented by x or by y. That's why we are looking for the value of x because it stands for something. So, ang sabi dito, symbols that stand in. So, kapag ka may nakita na kayong x sa isang equation or sa isang expression, that means may value yon. So, we are looking for that value. So, special symbols which are pi, equal, ayan, equality and inequality symbols. Meron din tayo ditong logic symbols which we will be discussing after ang mga meaning nito, and set notations. So pag sinabi nating set notations, it is represented by big letters or capital letters. Okay, so those are some examples of symbols. Next, letter conventions. So, start of the alphabet. Ano yung mga start of the alphabet which are A, B, C. Ito yung mga examples. And what they usually mean. Ano yung mga ibig sabihin ng mga ito? Constant or fixed values. So, pag sinabi natin constant, hindi na yun magbabago. Next, from I to N naman tayo. Ang examples nito ay I, J, K, L, M, N, yung mga letter conventions. Example, which means positive integers for counting. So, if you represent a positive number, you have to use these letters. Next, end of the alphabet, which are X, Y, Z. Ibig sabihin naman ito is variables or unknowns. Ito yung mga hinahanapan natin ng kanilang mga value. Sa start of the alphabet, ang example dito is the formula in Pythagorean theorem. And the formula for Pythagorean theorem is a square plus b square is equals to c square. So yung it is using start of the alphabet, which means constant fixed. Okay. Next, the grammar of mathematics. So here are the difficulties. The word is could mean equality, inequality, or membership of the set. So for an example, 2 multiplied by a number is 14. Ayan. So ginamit natin yung x yung is doon, which means equality. So doon naman tayo sa membership of set. So N is the set of list of Asian countries. All right. So next, mathematical objects may be represented in many ways, such as sets and functions. And the words and or mean differently in mathematics from its English use. So ang and or is usually ginagamit ito sa logic. Okay, we will go further on that. So translating phrases into mathematical expression. As you can see, andito na rin yung mga sagot. So, ang sagot for number 1 is 12x plus 3. So, ito yung pinaka-highlight ng language of mathematics, which we are going to translate phrases, English phrases, into mathematical expression or vice versa. So, here are examples. 3 increased by 12 times a number. So, itong a number dito, it is represented by x. So, 3 increased by, pag ginamit natin yung by, meaning dapat mauuna yung nahuhuling set of numbers like 12x. Kaya yung sagot dito, makikita nyo na 12x plus 3. So, ang basa nito is 3 increased by 12 times a number. Next, 10 times the sum of a number and 4. So dito, gumamit naman tayo ng open and close parentheses because we are looking for their sum. Sum of a number, which is the unknown, and represented by x, and 4. Then, ang sabi dito, i-multiply natin yung 10. So therefore, we are going to use open and close parentheses. So 10 multiplied by the sum of x and 4. Or simply just 10 times the sum of a number and 4. Bakit? If you don't put the open and close parentheses here, hindi na, magkaiba na yung kanilang mga sagot. Okay. Kapag wala yung open and close parenthesis, ang itsura niyan is 10x plus 4. So, meaning, yung x is multiplied to the 10. Which is hindi yun yung hinahanap natin. Kundi, we have to find first for the sum of a number and 4 before we multiply into 10. Okay, number 3. 3 times the difference of a number and 12. So, the same din sa ating number 2, which is, we use open and close parenthesis. And we have to find first for the difference of a number and 12 before we multiply by 3. Okay, number 4, the square of a number increased by 2. Square of a number, so we have to square or to the second power of that number is increased by 2. Ayan, kahit baliktarin mo yan, kung kahit na mauna yung 2, ayun pa rin ang sagot. Kahit baliktarin mo tong number na to. Alright? Pero wag mo lang ilalagay yung square sa 2. Kasi ang hinihingi dito is the square of a number, which is a number is represented by x. Okay? So the first phrase that we are going to translate into mathematical expression is the difference of 51 and twice a number is 45. Okay, so the difference, pag sinabi nating difference, yan yung sagot ng minus. Alright, so we are going to use the operation minus. So the difference of 51 and twice a number. Okay, so yung a number dyan is represented by x. So, twice a number is equals to what? 45. So that is number 1. How about number 2? Number 2, 12 added to a number. Okay, so as simple as that. Number 3. 8 times a number is 48. So 8 times a number. So we do not have to, or we don't need to put times kasi malilito na tayo because a number is represented by x. 8 times a number is 48. So, kapag gumamit na tayo ng is, ang sagot na nun ay equals. Okay, number 4. Oh, sorry. So, number 4, the product of 14 and a number. Pag sinabi nating product, yan ang sagot ng multiplication. So, a product of 14 and a number. So, as simply 14 multiplied by a number. Kasi ang representation nito is 14 times a number. So, we have to remove that para hindi tayo malito. Kasi understandable naman na if a number like 14 at sinama sa isang variable, letter variable, ang ibig sabihin nun ay minultiply na or it is the product of those two numbers. So, number 5 is twice a number minus 8. So, twice a number minus 8. Okay. So, as simple as that. That is just how to translate phrases into mathematical expressions. So, here are another examples of translating mathematical expressions into phrase. So, number one is the quotient of 9 and 4 times a number. Alright, number 2, 8 multiplied by the difference of 12 and a number. Number 3, 15. Or number 3, the sum of 15 and the number is the product of 4 and a number. Number 4, the quotient of the product of 8 and a number and 15 is 2. Okay? Number 5, the difference of 4 and the number divided by 15. Here are the keywords used in translation of mathematics expression into phrase or vice versa. So, yung mga operations, keywords that are used, examples, and andito na rin yung kanilang mga translations. So, you just have to read this para you can understand more about translation of math into English phrases. So, sa addition, may mga keywords tayong ginagamit, yung mga plus, more than, the sum of, the total of, increased by, added to. So, andito na rin yung kanilang mga examples and the translation. The same with subtraction, multiplication. So, andito din yung mga ginagamit sa division, powers, and equals. So that's all about the language of mathematics and the translation of mathematics expression into English phrase or vice versa. Your activity will be given through Google form.